I am Slick Nick, the living legend of hair loss, your personal hairline hero, and of course, the red pill pusher of hair loss. I am also the first person in the history of the world to narrow down the bro science of what determines whether you will go bald. You simply ask yourself 5 questions that I came up with. You ask yourself the 5 questions, and it's kind of a yes or no thing, whether that specific thing will mean that you go bald by age 35 or not. After you've answered all 5 questions, you then leave a comment on the video and tell me if you're going to go bald. It's that simple. No one would ever need to ask me. They should be telling me if they're going to go bald, and then they should be thanking me for telling them. But that doesn't happen. Instead, people will just tell me one of the 5 things or a few of them and then still ask me. Now, I will say that this comment is a little bit of the exception to the rule. Normally I wouldn't respond to this, but I think on my part maybe I didn't clearly explain something as well as I could have. So therefore I'm going to help this person out. I made a video, I've made multiple versions of this video, but this version they're responding to was called 5 Ways to Know If You're Going to Go Bald and How to Deal with It. And of course that's I believe that's the video that I always talk about. There's a link right here, you can watch the video to learn the 5 ways if you're gonna go bald and the 10 things that people judge you on. So that's the video. That's the one I put in most links. So here's what our friend Omkar Guzovi had to say. Quote, age 18. So that tells us, you compare your age now to age 35. Age 35 is pretty much the determining age on whether you're gonna be aggressively balding or not, because you pretty much go bald leading up to age 35. You don't typically aggressively go bald after age 35, but leading up to 35. So if you're age 18, you're only halfway there basically. So you still got ways to go. You've got literally more hair to lose if you're younger. So 18, so that he's got that going against him, I'll say. So we'll count that as a negative that he's so young. You want to be closer to age 35 to count it as a plus. So that's a negative. That's bad if you're only 18. Okay, number 2, at age 1, I had a juvenile hairline. So that's a good thing. So what he did is he looked at a photo of himself at age 1, not a baby photo, not age 2, not at 6 months, age 1. Your mother has a photo of you at age 1. She loves you. She cared enough about you to take a photo. Maybe not a professional one, but the photo exists. All you have to do is ask her for it or go to your house and find it. So he's saying at age 1, he had a juvenile hairline, which is implying that it is completely straight across. And ultimately the temples didn't really go back much. Number 3, I have noticed some thinning at my temple. Hairline, not a big difference, and overall thickness is affected since last year. Also want to mention I have faced depression and stress during the lockdown. Now let me comment on that real quick. I don't care if you've been depressed, and I don't care if you face stress in relation to going bald, because I've made it very clear multiple times. People conflate temporary hair loss to male pattern baldness, and it's not the same thing. You may be stressed out. You may have some kind of illness that caused you to temporarily lose your hair. That's not male pattern baldness. So I'm sorry about the depression and stress, but it's unrelated to male pattern baldness. Men who go bald don't permanently go bald because of a temporary situation that caused them to lose their hair. So let's go back to the thing that matters. When I say I don't care, I'm talking about the 5 things, whether I'm predicting if you're gonna go bald or not. So some thinning at the temples. I also don't care about that because, and I invite you all to watch a video of me getting a perm at age 17. Just type it in my videos, age 17. If you type that in, you're gonna see a video of me at age 17 getting a perm. And at the end of the video, my sister who's filming it zooms in. You can see that my temples, they actually looked worse than they do now as far far back they went. So receding temples, I don't care. That means nothing to me. So I'm counting that as a plus ultimately. So we got a negative on being so young, a positive on having a juvenile hairline at age 1, because age 1 is a projection of you at age 35, the determining age. Number 3, some thinning his temple, that means nothing, so I'm counting that as a plus. So far out of 3, we've got 2 pluses and 1 minus. The minus being that he's so young, and he's got more time in his life to lose hair. Number 4, I was able to grow a decent beard at age 17. So if you can grow a full beard by the age of 18, you're more likely to lose your hair. That was me, but now I'm 39 and I'm not bald. So, decent beard is what he said. For me, it's a full connected beard. Your mustache connects all the way down to your goatee, and that connects all the way up to your sideburns. If you've got that, that's a full beard. If not, it's not a full beard. It's a wannabe beard. So in theory, he's got that strike against him. And so do I, out of the 5 things. And then lastly, I'm Indian. So based on the picture, it looks like when he says Indian, he means from the nation of India, not Native American, which Indian men fall in the same category as white men. White men, Jewish men, Middle Eastern men, Pakistani, that's all in the same category, because by default, you're not what I call Asian, which would be Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Korean, Filipino. If you're one of those, you're much less likely to go bald, but you're much less likely to be able to ever grow that full connected beard at any point in your life. So, by default, if you're Indian, you're with the same DNA as me. Now, granted, I've got a plus in that category because about 1/5 of my DNA is Native American because my grandmother was Mexican. And I've done a DNA test, and it said I think 21% of my DNA is like Mayan, Aztec, that sort of thing, Native American. So for me, the only real strike I have going against me is that I was known as the guy at age 16 who could have a full connected beard. Most guys age 16 couldn't do that. I was known for that. Even recently in the summer, I went and visited my friend Josh in Colorado, and I didn't bring it up. I didn't bait the conversation, but he even said to my wife, he's like, Nick was one of the few guys I knew that could grow a beard when we were in high school. So you look at all 5 of these things, and then based on this, is our friend Omkar going to go bald? Well, he's young. He's got more time he could go bald, so that's a strike against him. But we're going to count how many strikes against him there are and see if it's the best out of 5. Next, he had a juvenile hairline at age 1. That's a good thing, because that's a prediction of you at age 35. Number 3, he's talking about receding temples. I don't care about that. That means nothing to me. That's not balding. Again, watch the video of me in 1997 and look at my temples. You'll see what I mean. I was 17 now. I'm 39 now. So, only 1 strike against him. Next, he was able to grow a decent beard at age 17. So assuming worst case scenario, it was fully connected, then that would be a strike against him. And then lastly, he's Indian. So he's not of what I would call Asian DNA, the DNA that specifically means you can't grow facial hair, but you tend not to go bald. So he's not of that. So really, we're looking at most of these strikes against him, in theory. But if we're really going to look at this carefully, the thing that I'm looking at is that age 1 juvenile hairline. So typically, men with a receding hairline, ultimately a Norwood 3 looking situation, at age 1, if that's a prediction of 35, that often is an indication of that. Because even for me, if you look at my 1-year-old photo, and I've made multiple videos on that, you'll see that actually my hairline was like this, which actually, technically, I've got 2 strikes against me, the beard thing and that thing. But ultimately, I don't know that you can really count that as a negative, because when you look at that video, again, just type in age 35 photo. If you type that in, age 1 photo, if you type that in, you'll find the videos I did when I was 35 and I made those videos. And ultimately, that's a lot of where my bro science hair concepts came from, was when I learned that, and I figured that out, that age 1 is a projection of you at age 35. So I feel that quite accurately that predicted that this is how I'd be as an adult. So overall, as the judge of this, I'm going to say the things he's got going against him. I'm trying to make the worst of the worst case scenario. The fact that you're Indian just means that you don't have the saving grace of having that, what I call Asian DNA. So we'll just rule that one out. You grow a decent beard at age 17. That definitely counts against you, because hairier guys are more likely to go bald sooner. Okay. You don't have any hair loss now at age 18, though. We got to count that as a plus, because some guys really do have balding going on, not just the temples thing. You've looked at a photo of yourself at age 1. Okay, final ruling. Here's what I've decided. Umcar, I predict, worst case scenario, you're going to look like me at age 35. That's my final ruling. Comments belong right here.